All right, we're turning now to Mercer County and a program that's looking to get people back on their feet. The Mercer County Drug Court launched in 2023. People charged with non-aggravated felonies can plea into this program if it's deemed they're committing crimes because of that substance abuse. And the goal is to treat addiction and get graduates back into society. Last month, the program officially celebrated its very first graduate. So here to explain what this program is and how it works is Drug Court Coordinator Janet Dalton and Assistant State's Attorney from Mercer County, Matt Voids. Thank you both so much for being here today. Janet, I want to start with you. Is it normal for a county the size of Mercer County to have a program like this?
Thank you so much for having us. It's so wonderful to meet you. And yes and no. So typically for specialty courts, they tend to focus more on the bigger communities, bigger counties. But per statute, standard wise, every single county should have a specialty court. So it has taken us this long, and we finally got one. Our state's attorney's office worked very, very hard to bring our drug court, specialty court to Mercer County. So while every single county should have one, it's very rare that you find them in smaller counties. So we're very fortunate that we have one.
And it's so exciting that you had your first graduate. I want to get to that in a second. But right now, let's tell people how the program works in the first place. I mean, Matt, if someone pleads into this program, are they able to avoid jail time?
Potentially, yes. So this is something that is a diversionary court program post-plea. So they would have to plead guilty to whatever they're charged with. And then if they get into the program, the idea is that they can either, I don't want to say avoid jail time, but through obtaining their sobriety and entering this lifelong recovery process, they can then be integrated back into society, which is generally what we want, because in Mercer County we have a lot of recidivism. I'm sure other smaller counties and even larger counties deal with it as well. So we don't want to see these people time after time. We don't want to send them to the Department of Corrections just to see them again in a year, 2 years, 4 years. So the best way we can do that is trying to make them into functioning members of society and enter into a life of recovery. So if they're able to do that, the majority of the time their charges are dismissed, whether that's a new charge or a petition to revoke their current probation for an allegation that they did something that they shouldn't have, that was drug related while they were on probation. That's not to say everything just goes away. There are still fines, fees. If there was any sort of restitution to any sort of victim or that kind of thing, they would still owe all of that as well.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the recidivism rates because, I mean, that's a huge part of this, right? Is someone theoretically that can graduate this program not only benefits their own life, but it's a huge benefit to the whole community at large to not have someone repeatedly going through the justice system. But we also should tell people, I mean, like you said, it's not like this is a 1-hour class once every 2 weeks. I mean, when someone is admitted to this program, what kind of steps do they have to take?
So it's pretty rigorous. Of course, you have a court process. You go through the court process. The entire drug court team consists of different areas for treatment, let's just say. So you have a treatment provider, which for us, fortunately, we partnered with RICA, who is based in the Quad Cities. So they come to us. The clients themselves can go to them. They can do Zoom treatment. So we have a peer support person, which is somebody with lived experience that can tell them, hey, I went through a similar program. I graduated. Our peer support person right now is 5 years sober, which is amazing. So they have somebody that they can talk to and relate to, whereas we're coming from a legal perspective. You know, they look at us and go, oh, you want to lock me up, or I had a drink, I slipped up. You know, they can go to this person and say, I'm having cravings, you know, things like that. And then of course we have the state, we have our public defender, and then my department. So it's a whole group of us that are all working together, and it's an ongoing process. And from the day they plea in until the day they graduate, they're in constant treatment, constantly in court. So you know, the battle may be there in the beginning, but as they see the vision and start buying into it, success. We had our graduation. So that's the dream for anybody that comes in, and it's a whole ongoing process.
So this process takes well over 2 years. We have a committed judge as well. That's a member of our team. They have to sign on when they enter our drug court team and agree to be here for at least 2 years, so that these participants always appear in front of the same judge. And that's really important for consistency because, as we talk about recidivism, I know every single person in our drug court court, and it's not because I see them out in the community. It's because I prosecuted them in the courtroom several times before they got into this. This isn't an initial program where you just got in trouble. This is your first time, and we're going to put you in the drug court. This is kind of like into the line type thing. Like, you need to get sober, or you're going to be facing a lot of time in Department of Corrections. So having that consistency with the judge is great because, again, they've only ever had this negative interaction where they're coming to court, they're being told they did something wrong, they're being told that they have to show up for court and that they're facing all these penalties. In our program, our judge actually checks it up with them every time they come up to the bench. How are you doing? What's going on in your life? You know, you did A, B, and C. I'm very proud of you. Or you didn't do 1, 2, and 3. I'm disappointed. Let's see how we can do better. So this goes on for over 2 years. There's 5 steps. Each step is progressively longer, requires them to have sobriety dates, certain amount of sobriety dates before they can move on to another step, or phase as we call them. And each phase also includes things like getting your own residence, getting a job, opening a bank account, depositing your checks in said bank account, learning how to manage a debit card and a checkbook. A lot of our participants have not led what I would call a normal life. They have no idea how to balance a checkbook. They have no clue how to pay your utilities or anything like that. So it really is almost reforming this person from the ground up and teaching them how to function in society as an adult.
I'm glad you said that part too, because that was my next question. I mean, how does this program go beyond what's happening in the courtroom and really work with someone about reintegrating back into society?
So the best way I could put it is, most people that come through the court system are being prosecuted. They do jail time. They're sentenced to my department. You know, they're supervised. Either we're seeing them monthly or we're seeing them weekly, depending on what the assessment is. With this program, they're getting everything like Matt described, you know, so they view everything differently, you know. Even, I don't want to put it this way, but even for my clients that come in, I have both juveniles and adults. We tend to focus more on the juveniles because we're looking at, you know, what are your grades like? What's your home life like? All of those things. Whereas an adult that's on probation, we're focused on, are you committing more crimes? Are you staying sober? With the drug court participants, it's all of those things combined, you know. So that's totally different, and they tend to be more open from my perspective. Just the amount of time and the focus on the sobriety, they tend to open up more too, you know, because they feel more comfortable. It's not just about crime and punishment. It's about fixing me from the core, you know. So yeah, it's, I don't know, you want to top that up? No?
I think she just about summed it up. So essentially what we're trying to do is rewire these individuals by essentially we are holding their hands in the beginning. We are telling them where they can be, when they can be there, who they can see, where they can go, where they need to be. We control and run every aspect of their lives, and most of that is done by our probation officer, Caitlin Crack, who takes care of seeing these people, keeping on top of them, making sure that everything's running smoothly. And then as they progress through the phases, they get more and more personal liberty, but they also get more and more responsibilities outside of the drug court team, like what we talked about with finding a job, finding your own residence, again, the bank account, the vehicles, all of that stuff, until eventually we're only seeing these individuals once a week, just checking to see if everything's good, and then they get ready for graduation.
Well, let's talk about graduation. You recently had, last
Yeah.
month, your very first graduate. I mean, walk me through that. First of all, this individual has given his permission for his face to be shown here. I mean, how did you guys
Yes.
feel personally watching his hard work pay off?
I I can tell you there probably wasn't a dry eye in our courtroom. Um, I'm glad this happened to be our first graduate because I think literally everybody has dealt with this person and knew of this person. And so for him to be our first graduate, and he sat, I have to give him his kudos, and judge told him this on graduation day. He sat in our jail and waited for a year just so he could be the first participant in our drug court program. And when the day finally came, and okay, here's a little tidbit. I knew what specialty courts were because I've worked in probation for years. Did I have buy in to specialty courts? I'd be lying if I said I did. And this is the person. I came in my first day. They didn't tell me we were starting drug court. They told me to apply. I said, sure, took the job. And they said, oh, by the way, we're implementing a drug court. And I thought, oh, okay. And this happened to be the person that taught me everything there is to know about drug court. This happened to be the person that gave this entire community the buy-in to our drug court. And so to have that day finally arrive where we all sat in that courtroom and watched the judge sign off and say you're done was the best day in my entire career. I don't think there has ever been a time in my line of work where I felt fully complete, like we achieved something. So it was a special day.
I completely agree. I have been prosecuting out here for 9 years now, and I can tell you that on my first week, I remember seeing this individual in custody for felony charges. And he's not a stranger to the courtroom. I've seen him off and on throughout those whole 9 years. And I can say that I was amazed at the transformation that our program brought to him. And I was so happy on graduation. And it's not even necessarily about not seeing him anymore, not prosecuting him in court, just how he looks, how he feels, the huge difference you can see, getting to hear about him, connecting with his family and friends, and finding all these sober activities and just a new joy in life. It just really made me happy.
And you have 4 more participants in the court right now, is that right?
Yep. We have 4. We have a potential that we're going to be staffing on Monday. I think he's going to get in. Mr. ASA over here signed off on it, so we're good to go. But yes, and we are constantly telling people, look into it, come in. We're constantly talking to their attorneys. We're always looking for more and more referrals. I mean, we just started building a couple of years ago, and here we are.
Here you guys are. Congratulations.
Yes.
I know how much work
Thank
you have
you.
put into this. Thank you so much for your time today. I think this is a really incredible program. It's such a gift or a blessing to Mercer County to have this available.
Yes.
And thank you guys so much for your time.
Thank you so much for reaching out. Thank you for shining the light on our program. We're just getting started. We would like our community to know, if they know anybody, they can give referrals. They can walk into our offices any day, talk to us, ask questions. Anything at all we can do to help Mercer County, we're more than willing to do. So thank you, Shelby. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. I would mirror that. I just wanted to end it with just saying anybody can make a referral to our drug court. So anybody out there that knows anybody in the Mercer County court system that they think would benefit from our program, any citizen can make a referral. We keep referral forms in the hallway of the courthouse, or they can reach out to probation and get some.
And for you guys at home, we have that contact info up on our website. You can also check out the online version of this story at WQAD.com. Just click on the As Seen on TV tab at the top of the homepage.